let me introduce my special guest. He's a master of astrology and numerology. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have a lot of astrologers and numerologists on the show from all over the place, and I'm so glad to have this brother on the show tonight. He is the CEO and founder, and one of the founders of COZMOPHYZIX. My main man from Baltimore, Maryland. Let's welcome everybody, REESE, to the show.
Peace.
Eva, how you doing?
I am well.
You're well?
I am well.
Hey, welcome to Astrology Numerology now. I'm so glad to have you here. Now, before we get into the business of COZMOPHYZIX, I just want you to tell everybody, what sign are you?
I'm a Libra.
You're a Libra. What's your moon and rising sign?
Okay, my moon is Aries, my rising is Virgo.
And how long have you, and you're from Baltimore?
Baltimore, Maryland.
By way of?
I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Born and raised in Baltimore?
Yes.
Okay, and one of the things that you talk about is COZMOPHYZIX.
Yes.
Could you tell our viewing audience what exactly is COZMOPHYZIX?
COZMOPHYZIX is a branch of astrology that focuses on prediction, and it focuses on taking the mathematics of astrology and streamlining it to making it very effective so that the astrologer can be a walking, talking ephemeris,
okay.
Or just pretty much living software. We can be able to, our students can calculate the ascendant, and they can calculate the degree of a sun just by the birth time and birthday. Some people can calculate it within 5 or 3 minutes in their head. Some people can have to write it down, but they're able to calculate the annum and the diurnal daily, and
okay.
that really helps an astrologer out when you're actually trying to do prediction, because it's very hard work. It takes a lot of mathematics involved in it, and what the Grand Cosmocrat, Master Raku, has done is...
And we have Master Raku in the studio audience.
Yes.
Master Raku, step up to the mic for a second. Give a hand to one of the founders of COZMOPHYZIX. Master Raku, welcome to Astrology and Numerology now, my brother.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you're the founder. How did you come up with the principle and the ideal of COZMOPHYZIX?
I'm gonna try to put this shortly. All right.
Okay.
My grandmother introduced it to me when I was a boy, and
where's your grandmother from?
Binghamton, New York.
Okay.
All right? I was born in Binghamton, New York, raised in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
All right? And as a youth, I didn't really hang on to it, but because it had been introduced to me, I was familiar with it. As a teen, I got more interested in it. You know, I'm almost 50 now,
okay.
So you know it's been a while.
All right.
But I noticed certain things. I didn't have a coach or a guru or an instructor, so I used to have to dig through books and then test it on the people in my environment. I used to go crazy, running the streets, reading people, everybody that would let me. You know, every opportunity I got.
So you had astrology in your family as long as you can basically remember?
Indeed.
From Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, no, I was born in Binghamton, New York. I moved
okay.
to D.C. when I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Eva, how did you meet Master Raku?
I was a numerologist at the time.
You was a numerologist?
And I was numerologist. I'm also a writer, a science fiction writer, and one of the things that I do is take my metaphysics and I put it in my craft, in my work. I was looking for an artist for a comic book idea that could capture metaphysical motifs and themes in the artwork, and as well had a great handle and a great grasp on drawing African Americans.
What is COZMOPHYZIX? It's. I've never heard of the name till I started social media with you, Ever. But in a nutshell, Ever, what is COZMOPHYZIX? Is it for African Americans, people of color? Can anybody understand and Raku participate in COZMOPHYZIX? Is it exclusive to?
Let me tell you, man.
Let me just go with Ever first, and then we get back to you, Master. Go ahead, brother.
No, it's not exclusive to black folk, but we focus on giving it to black folks. We believe that this is a knowledge that has come out of Central Africa, that it came out of our matriarchy. It is from our ancestors. It was hidden from us, and we have rediscovered it. we're trying to get it back into the neighborhoods, into the communities. And so we have advocated on Facebook through COZMOPHYZIX to bring anyone of any race, color, or creed into COZMOPHYZIX to test the theories, to utilize it, and show and prove that our theories and our techniques do work. However, we do focus on submitting it to black folk because they need it. You know, our people have been a faith-based people, and we believe that we live in the age of Aquarius, and this is the age of knowledge.
Okay.
We understand that knowledge reigns supreme over everything and everyone.
Okay, Master Raku, when your grandmother passed the tradition down to you, I mean, from the story as I understand, you and Ever partner. Why do we need COZMOPHYZIX in 2015 and beyond?
Well, it has its basis in medical astrology, but really what it is, it was my attempt to validate or invalidate those claims read in Safariel's book, Medical Astrology. And I found new correspondences and new repetitious, you know, occurrences, okay? Like, and I looked at the charts of a lot of very ill and deceased folks, and I noticed how, you know, you're born with squares and oppositions.
Right.
And if you're fortunate enough to get old, to get decrepit, right, when you finally do, those squares, those oppositions represent the organs in the body according to Western rulership, not classical rulership. Those parts of the body that will go through the processes of healing, injury, needing surgery, what have you.
Now, Master Raku, I just want to stop you right there. I just want to invite my viewing audience to call the show right now. We are live from New York City. We are live from Money-Making Manhattan in New York. Call the show right now to talk real astrology and real numerology with astrologer Ever REESE and Master Raku, founders and CEO of COZMOPHYZIX. My control room just came out here. I don't think I said the number, but I'm going to say it. 212-757-1393 is the number to call. And I want to say hello to my girl, Sweet D Love. Sweet D Love is in the house. Caller, you're on the air with Z Starman.
Yes, good evening, Starman. This is Laura. How are you?
Hey, Laura, how are you?
I'm okay.
This is Laura the Leo?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good, brother man. I'm good.
What's your question, Laura?
My question, I wanted to get a reading for the prediction, the upcoming, the summer. I know Jupiter is still in Leo up until my birthday, and I wanted to just get a general reading, something basic. Yes, sir.
Well, you have some world-class astrologers in the house tonight. Laura, tell everybody your birthday.
8566.
8566. Anybody with any impressions on 8566?
What time of day was she born?
I was born at 5:04 p.m.
You were born at 5:04 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Now, you've called the show several times.
Yes,
you
sir.
should know, tell us quickly, what's your moon and rising sign?
My moon, I do believe, is in Cancer. My rising is Aries.
Okay. August 6th.
August 5.
I always get the 5 and the 6 when you come. August 5, 1966. August 5th, 1966. Anybody like to go first?
Oh, before we start, the reason why we like to explain COZMOPHYZIX and the reason why Raku first told you that it's medical based, we have a certain type of technique that we utilize, which we call VTAC, which is called verifying the ascendant process. Everyone knows their ascendant, they get a certain time of birth, but we also know that birth times can be off. For whatever reason, they can be off, and we need to verify the ascendant. I don't think, in my opinion, any astrologer should attempt to read anyone without verifying that ascendant first. That ascendant lays down all the signs covering those houses and the planets in certain degrees, so that allows you to build blueprints, which I specialize in. So if I wanted to do a blueprint on your
So with the birth time Laura just gave us, what's your birth time again, Laura?
5:04
AM or PM?
p.m.
Now, do you have a problem with the 5:04 p.m.? You're
Yeah.
saying that it's not the right time, Master?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not the right
we have to
time.
verify it.
Okay, it needs to be. See, COZMOPHYZIX isn't conventional. You know, we developed this technique because there's a lot of people that say astrology has no veracity. Okay, there's no proofs. It's all subjective, right?
So what can you tell Laura? We're on the air live.
I understand that, but I don't mean to hog the time. But the explanation is necessary.
Okay, quickly,
So
we're
we
on
need
live,
a
brother.
physical. We need a physical marker, right? She was born at 5 during the summertime. That's
Right.
really 4,
Right.
right? That puts the sun
Exactly.
in the 8th place or on the 7th cusp. So she's Aquarius or Capricorn. She can't be a Aries rising. That's impossible for Leo to be in the Western sector and Aries to be rising. Leo
Now,
would have to be in
do
the
you
5th
take
place.
into consideration any kind of house system for
Equal
her?
house is all I need.
Okay.
Okay, because the cusps in cosmophysics are like aspects, basically.
Okay.
So we don't look at the cusps as equal, unequal, because we can't verify them physically. All right?
Now, Laura, basically for you, and we got the great Lloyd Strayhorn in the house.
Wow.
Lloyd
Okay.
Strayhorn is in the house tonight. We have an all-star cast of people. But from a numerology point of view, well, basically we got Venus retrograde. The big thing is we have Venus retrograde in the sign of Leo coming up in July. July 25th to the day before Labor Day, September 6th. We got Venus retrograde in Leo, and so that's one of the things that we have to, or you have to be aware of, because Venus, the planet of love and money, is only retrograde once every 18 months or 20 months. Mercury retrograde, which we just came off of, is retrograde at least 3 times a year. So everybody has to look forward for this summer. This summer, talking about a long, hot summer with Venus retrograde, starting in Virgo and then retrograding back into the sign of Leo.
I would tell her, watch your money, watch your purse, watch your spending for the rest of the summer.
Yes,
Because what we're talking about here, from what I understand, just knowing where the sun is and looking at this chart that he has here, you have the sun in Leo. And we know that Jupiter and Venus is in Leo right now, so that's a great thing. You may have opportunities coming around the corner. You may have things that you feel that's a great time to go shopping, but that retrograde later on this year from Virgo back into Leo, some of the things that you may have purchased before the end of the summer, you may regret. So I would say just watch your, watch your spending habits. I would actually also, if you're involved in dating right now, whomever you're dating, if there's an issue that you've been holding back or underneath, you need to get it out now before the retrograde.
You heard that, Laura?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you for
Okay.
calling the show. 212-757-1393 is the number to call. Now, we're going to take one more phone call, and we're going to have a studio demonstration in a few seconds. Caller, you're on the air with Z Starman. Do we have a call? Caller, can
Hello?
you? Yes, I can hear you. Quickly.
Yes, I just wanted to attest the fact that the master on there is like amazing. My name is Dr. Walker. He did a reading for me and it was like just out of this world. So I just wanted to say really quickly, this is the true deal and we need to pay attention to what these men are offering. That's all I have to say.
Now, where are you calling from?
I am in the nation's capital.
Okay, and what day is your birthday? Share it with our viewers.
August 16th,
August 16.
1972.
I think that's another Leo on the line, and again, the big thing with Leo is you have to deal with 2 things: the square of Saturn in the latter part of Scorpio. You know, Saturn is in the sign of Scorpio right now, and is making a square aspect to the Leo people on those latter degrees of Leo. So that's one thing that you have to watch out for, because you got Leo and Saturn square each other, but also it's the Venus retrograde. I can't stress this more than enough for Leo people, is dealing with the Venus retrograde in the sign of Leo. It's going to come down to about 15 degrees ever, and then it's going to go back up those same 15 degrees in mid-Leo.
And one thing about retrogrades that people should understand, like when you read a lot of books that say the retrogrades, normally bad things happen and it's pretty weak and things of that sort. You have to understand that retrograde is a very powerful motion, okay?
Exactly.
The planet goes over those degrees about 3 times. So we're getting 3 times of the planetary power hitting those degrees, 3 times the aspects are being made in the stretch of those degrees.
It's like, let me just explain what Eva just said. It's like backing up over a bump, a speed bump, then backing over it again, then backing up over it.
Absolutely.
So you get sort of kind of the triple whammy doing a retrograde, because the planet has to come out of the shadow of its retrograde.
Absolutely.
So a lot of Taurus people, a lot of Libra people dealing with your ruling planet going retrograde from July 25th to August 11th, and it won't be out of the shadow of its retrograde to October 9th. So Hold on, Leo people. Now, we're going to demonstrate. Tell the people what we're getting ready to see, Eva.
Well, COZMOPHYZIX right now, just right now, has 2 additional branches outside of the predictive methodology. There's COZMOBiometrics, which Raul has developed. He's also a portrait artist, so it's basically focused on looking at a person's features and identifying the astrological features of the contour of their face and trying to determine the ascendant based upon what you're looking at as well, then speaking to them. So that's COZMOBiometrics, and then we have...
So that's sort of kind of like, you know, people are always asking astrologers, guess what sign I am, and you know, sometimes I can do it instantly, sometimes I can't. But you're saying with the biometric part of COZMOPHYZIX, you can narrow things down and identify a native more quickly.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna see, we're gonna do that right now. Sister, step up, please. Step up to the microphone. One of our studio audience members. Welcome to Astrology Numerology Now. What's your name?
Thank you. I am Marcia Marie.
What's her?
Marcia Marie.
Marcia Marie. Welcome to the show, Marcia Marie. Now, do you know Ever Reese?
No, I do
Have you
not.
ever met him before?
No, I have not.
Okay, Ever is going to use biometrics and try to tell us your birthday. How do you do? You start out by asking her questions?
Well,
and we have to do this very quickly. We're running out of time. We got about 2 minutes to do this.
Let me just take a look at it really quick and just ask you a few questions. Since I just need your memory and your honesty. Since you're a little girl, have you ever had any issues with your hands or your lungs or anything, any type of breathing issues?
Not really.
Lower back issues?
Yeah.
Okay. She's a Libra Rising.
She's a Libra Rising?
Yes.
Why do you say that? Because Libra rules the spinal cord, or
Libra.
the spinal system in medical astrology, but Libra Rising. Do you do any, well, some of the attributes of Libra are performing arts and writing and drawing. Do you do any of those things?
Just a little.
Do you work with the law in any kind of way?
No, I do not.
Okay. What do you do professionally?
I am a luxury travel
Okay.
customer representative.
Okay. Thank you, Marcia Marie. Thank you very much. Now, we got about a couple of minutes left in the show. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about, you wrote a blog and an article about racism in astrology. And in the light of what we've seen on June 17th, 2015, as most of us know, that we had the massacre at the church in Charleston, South Carolina. And Ever, just from an astrology point of view, Charleston is ruled by the sign of Gemini. Charleston is ruled by the sign of Gemini. And on that day, we had 2 planets. We had the Sun conjunct Mars in the sign of Gemini, which Charleston rules. But the other thing that I saw on that day also, from an astrology point of view, is that we had natal Pluto, or transiting Pluto opposite the moon in Cancer. So we had that exact opposition of the moon and Pluto conjunct Mars in Gemini, or Sun Mars in Gemini, which is also opposite the Earth. See, a lot of us, we don't talk about what sign the Earth is in.
Right.
We're always talking about what sign Mercury's in, Venus is in, Mars is in, but what sign is the Earth in? And the quick answer is the Earth is always in the opposite of the Sun sign. So we had the Mars conjunction opposite the Earth in Sagittarius. From a numerology point of view, since Mr. Strayhorn is in the house, that was a master 22 personal day, Lloyd, or universal day. And the 22 universal day is a day of great promise, high ascendant, but the negative side of the 22, as you know, is its downfall at its worst. So we had all these great energies happening on that day. What's your take on that day? And our condolences go out to the families of the Charleston Nine, as I call them. What's your take on that day?
First, I want to say peace to their families. That was a very, very, very tragic moment, a very hateful crime, a very act of racism. I just want to call it for what it is. That's just what it was. My 13-year-old boy knew what it was.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go away from the aspects you talked about because there's something a little bit more powerful going on. Saturn retrograde into Scorpio is what we're talking about. When Saturn was in Scorpio for the whole time, for almost 2 or 3 years.
Right, Saturn's been in Scorpio since 2012.
We saw a very, very lot of things going on that we don't like. But I'm just going to put it very basically. Saturn equals the color of black. Scorpio equals murder and kill. What have we been seeing? Young black people being murdered and killed in the streets. That is what
Now
Saturn.
you said Saturn equals.
Saturn equals black.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Explain that one more time.
Saturn equals black. It's the color black. And Scorpio is murder and death.
Okay.
And that is what we have been seeing, the murder and death of black folk.
Since 2012, that's when Saturn's been in the sign of
Absolutely.
Scorpio.
Now,
what about, do you think Neptune in the sign of Pisces also has
about
a
to get to
contributing
that.
factor?
It's not just that, but we have to also understand that there's a mutual reception that was going on these years. Pluto and Capricorn. That's a very powerful mutual reception. The destruction and the fall of the government and its total, its evaporation, it's like a growing pain. And what that is that mutual reception from Capricorns and squared a very important configuration, Uranus and Aries. Uranus and Aries to me represents the racial issue that we're going through now. Aries to me is racism. It is the epitome of selfishness on a lower level.
So it's a combination of the generational planets, Uranus, and squaring Pluto and Capricorn at the same time.
Absolutely. So as astrologers, we all know about the Uranus-Pluto square.
Right.
That is really the crux of what's going on in the United States and globally right now. That's on a higher level. That talks about the children born with that mark or the ancestors returned to Zetepi. But it also talks about that this is when governments are going to push against the people. This talks about police brutality. This talks about drone warfare on the people. This speaks about angst for everyone to be liberated and to be unified against in one cause. It also means on a higher level enlightenment, self-enlightenment, Uranus and Aries.
Okay.
And so we have to start to accept who we are, but at the same time allow other people to be who they are and live in harmony.
Now, we're about to run out of time. I just want to throw these aspects out at you. Now, later on this summer, everybody, we're going to have about all the outer planets, including from Saturn for about a couple of weeks. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto is going to be retrograde. What's your cosmophysian view about that? We have the outer planets, including Saturn, I think towards the end of July, being retrograde. What should we keep our eyes on? And we have to pay attention to these retrogrades.
Well, I like to call retrogrades backstrokes. Okay, that's what you do, the backstroke with a retrograde. You're revisiting a lot of things that are held deep down inside or undercover that needs to come to the forefront. Retrogrades are great times. If you're holding things in or things are not being said, it's time to say them. If you're holding things in, let them out. Even if you have to just write a letter to someone, it's not always about physical confrontation, it's just about release. And that's what the retrogrades are gearing up for, a release. So do you want to release positively or do you want to release negatively? And that's the question of the backstroke.
How can people, we're just about out of time for the live show, if you're here, if you should be here in the studio audience in New York, the conversation is going to continue later on, but how do people find out about or contact you for COZMOPHYZIX?
Right now, you can just contact me on...
What's this camera? Camera 4. That's
4?
your camera right there.
Oh, okay.
Tell everybody how to get in contact.
Well, you can contact me on Facebook with my page. My Facebook page is REESE. I also have a different Facebook page called REESE Astro Astrologer or Astro Conceptualist. Now, the REESE page is a personal page. A lot of my political ideologies in that page mixed with astrology. That's just a warning, okay? But REESE Astro Conceptualist focus strictly on conceptual astrology and using the astrology of creative visualization.
Okay. Now, you have any shout-outs? Do you want to tell anybody, say anybody?
I just want to shout out to everybody who supported COZMOPHYZIX.
That's your camera, looking right at number 4.
Everybody who supported COZMOPHYZIX, who supported the 361 movement. We spiraling out. Peace.
All right, that's about all the time we have for Astrology Numerology Now. REESE, thank you for stopping by, my man. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
All right, everybody give it up for REESE. COZMOPHYZIX.